Hi everybody, it's time for us to use some model magic to make a really fun little necklace. So today we're going to add some patterns and some textures and designs onto our model magic. We're going to also add some color to it. And so here's what we're going to do to add some color. So I'm going to flatten this out a little bit. And then I'm going to choose some colors that I want to add. And we're just using some markers. This is not trying to make a pretty design. I'm just putting some red on here. And I think I'm going to put a little orange with it. And if we have a color wheel handy, and I don't have one here, if we put colors that are close together on the color wheel on our model magic, it's going to make a prettier color. If we put colors that are far away, for instance, red and green are pretty far away, they're opposite on the color wheel. Those colors are not going to make a nice bright color. They'll make something more like a brown kind of color. So that might help you decide. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it over. And I'm just going to keep folding it over and squeezing it. And our color is going to start mixing in to our model magic. If you have ever helped in the kitchen and added some food coloring to something, this might remind you of that as we're mixing it in. So you can see I've got kind of a light orange kind of color here. If I want to add some more colors, I can flatten it back out. And I don't have a whole lot of different colors here, so I'm just going to go a little bit more with my red. Now you can experiment. If you want to try all different kinds of colors together, that is totally fine. But it's not going to get to be a dark color. It'll be kind of a light color. But you can keep trying. And if you don't mix it all the way, sometimes it starts to look kind of tie-dye, which is really cool. So you can see I am just squeezing and adding some colors. Let's see, since I'm experimenting here, and I don't mind what mine turns out to look like, I'm going to go ahead and add some green. Let's see what happens, because you might be curious. And green is pretty dark here. So let's see, maybe if we don't mix it all the way, it might look pretty cool. But if I mix it all the way, it might start looking kind of brownish. You can kind of see it's beginning to get a little bit grayish looking. And we can't take the color out. So if you put too much in, whoops, and my model magic is a little bit dried out. I hope yours isn't a little bit dried out like mine. But it kind of made my color not so bright, didn't it? And if that happens, oh well, that's okay. But I think I want to add a little bit more, because it's kind of actually, I almost made kind of a light skin color, didn't I? And so I'm going to brighten that up a little bit more with a little more red. So you can have some fun mixing your colors. Whatever this ends up being is what I'm going to go with, so I can show you the next step. But you can spend a little more time than I did. You don't want to spend the whole time mixing your colors in, but you can spend a little time. All right, if I think, okay, I'm happy with that color, I'm going to roll this into a ball. You can see I'm rolling it with my two hands, or you can put it on your table and roll it around. So it's a sphere or a ball. And so then I'm going to just take my hands and I'm going to squeeze it down into a more flattened out kind of a circle. But I don't want it too thin. If I make it too thin, it's going to be really weak and it might fall apart. So it's kind of like, if you know what an Oreo cookie is, sometimes I talk about the thickness of an Oreo cookie. So if it's really, really super thin, it's going to break. So you can kind of see about how thick that is. The next thing I'm going to do before I start adding my designs, I'm going to put a paper clip, because this is going to be a necklace. So I'm going to just stick this kind of in, And it's going to kind of mess up my shape a little bit, you can tell. So I'm just going to gently fix that back into the shape that I like. So I'm pushing and just gently making that go around my paper clip so I have a little loop. I don't want to, let's see, maybe you can see it against the red a little bit better. I don't want to completely cover it because we're going to be putting a piece of yarn and some beads, really making these look really nice. So I'm going to look at this, and I might choose the side that looks the smoothest to put designs on. I might want to put designs on both sides. That's totally your choice. So I'm going to lay this down, and then to make our designs, I just have a regular old pencil here. The markers that I was adding color with, I can use that too. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you some ideas. I'm going to actually take this marker first, and I'm going to push, and I'm just gently pushing. I do not want to go all the way through. So look, that makes a pretty good circle, doesn't it? And then I'm going to use the back of my pencil where the eraser is, and that can make some little circles in there too. And then I could use the point, and I can add some designs with the point. And so I can keep putting some designs in with my tools that I have. See if I can put a circle in here. And then maybe even a little dot in there. You can also take your pencil, and I'm holding it a little bit more flat, and I can put some designs in, and it might be easier to keep turning it around if you are doing it that way. And when your Model Magic, if yours happens to be a little bit more dried out like mine is, then it kind of is, it's so spongy, it sort of, some of your details come out, but that's okay. And so I can just keep adding more little details to make this look really, really awesome. You can see I'm just putting little dots all around the edges. And if yours is all one color like this, if you want to add some other colors in, let's say that I'm going to just take my red here since it's handy, and I'm going to just put some dots with some colors in too. And so let's go ahead with this green. And I'm not just coloring and scribbling on the whole thing because that's going to lose some of my details. But you can see that you can start to make it look pretty cool with colors and designs. And when you are all done, when you think it looks finished, then we're going to put them in a safe place to dry. And then we'll be ready for the next step when they're all dry to really add some details to them with beads and some string.